Alright, so now I'm going to be showing you how to take this cylinder out of the ignition. And how to do that is you're going to make sure that your key is in, and you're going to turn it to accessories. It's a little hard to do now, people, with one hand. But let me show you here. There's a little pin there. It's blurry. And I hope and pray that the focus is in on for you. So make sure you get like a paper clip or something like that. There's a little hole on top. I know a lot of people have already figured out why there's a hole there. It had to be for something. And you can see that you push down on that little bronze tab that's there. And you will see that now in the video. When I take it out, I'll show you about that. So you push completely down, and then you wiggle your ignition or your column with the key in it. Make sure you don't push too hard. You may bend your key. It should wiggle and push outward, and it should slide right on up through. So I'm going to push this back down. So I'm going to turn it a little bit, wiggle it around a little bit. Sometimes you can't get it on the first try. This is the reason why I do these videos, because other people, you do it once and it comes right on out. I'm all about the originality of it and the realness. There you go, she's starting to jiggle out now. Like, sometimes these things are difficult coming out, but you can see I just got it out. But they're very difficult to come out. Okay, so once your cylinder is taken out, you just look it over and see if there's any damage or anything like that. I have a flashlight here, so you can see down inside the cylinder. And you can see there's a bit of, there we go. You can see there's a bit of grease or whatever. You can get a cloth and wipe it out and put some more grease in there if you want, because grease in this cylinder is definitely 41 years old. No one had ever taken this column out before, I know that for a fact. And also, once you take your cylinder out, make sure your little pin don't fall out. That's the pin that I showed you how to unlock your column. And there is the little pin there. So if it do fall out, I'll show you that this little piece here is what goes back down into the cylinder, and that's your button. So you gotta make sure that that goes back in where the hole is. Like that. You can see it there in the video. And it's still spring loaded. So everything is perfect that way. And then what you do is you line this up with your new cylinder to see if everything matches. And you can see the teeth right here and the teeth right here. You can see the cylinder piece here is slanted just as much as that one. And then you got the little teeth mark here, and a little teeth mark. And there's your tumblers, which is always going to be different from your other key. And then you turn this around here. And then you can see that everything is identical. Up here where the turn shaft goes for your button to unlock your cylinder. You can see right here everything is perfect. And you can see this little piece here is a little different. This one here goes down a little bit more than the factory. But that doesn't hurt anything. You don't have to worry about that at all. It's just this one here is actually, the locking mechanism is a lot more simplified than what the newer one is. So the newer one's a lot harder for you to crack if people wants to break your column. This is a lot harder to crack than the original. So that's all that is. If you see this little piece here, that's fine. There's going to have no problems with that. And of course your key design is going to be different unless you ordered one with the exact same key design. But you don't have to. I'll have to find my key there and let me see here. There's the keys there. They're a little different from one another. but you can see the old one had a copy key one time. Not that this was replaced, there was just a copy key, because you can see that that's a copy key. Now I can get the original set key and then get it recut as this, but this here is fine, I don't mind that at all. Okay, so once that's all done, make sure you turn your ignition is going to be locked, but you're going to have to wiggle a little bit and then it'll come free. Once the cylinder's in, it's going to get locked, that's what I'm saying. So, another thing, before you put your cylinder in, make sure you put a good bit of oil in there. Don't go put nothing too thick, because it'll gunk up or whatever the case may be. But I just put some of this little bit of stuff that I just had hanging around, and I squirted in there. Also, too, you can turn your cylinder, and there's a little hole here, and you can see the metal. And when you turn your cylinder, you see it's kind of like a dark hole by then, because there's a little channel in there, so you can put a little bit of grease in there, and that's the reason why I have it on its side here now, because I put a good bit of grease in there. It's more of a runny type of grease. It's very watery, liquidy. It's not something that'll dry up or anything, but nothing too thick. You don't need it too thick. And that's what keeps your key from freeing, from back and forth. What was happening with mine, the cylinder was locking, like the modern 2000s type of Chevs did. And you can see a little bit of oil coming out through there now. You keep it in there. And set it up here so the oil can dance around in there, as I call it. But it locks up because lack of oil and grease and stuff like that. So this is more difficult than putting the cylinder in. I'm laying on something else, I guess. There we go. So it locks up when the cylinder is bone dry, and that's what was happening to this old one here. And you can see it had its days. It's still good to keep. You can wipe it off, clean it, and put it away just in case if something happens, or if you're fixing another car and you can get this up to tip-top shape. And you can see that the teeth are really, really good shape on this key, so you can get it reprinted. This piece here is kind of bent up. Someone must have been fooling around with this before at one time, because I didn't bend it up. I knew how to take it completely out at the time. But clean up your cylinder if it's not damaged or anything. If you see a lot of damaged ones up here, you see the teeth up here kind of broke off maybe, or in real hard shape. You see a lot of rub marks or whatever that is. I don't know what's going on with the camera today, people. Here we go. And you see the teeth are in really good shape. They stick out very well, I should say. So everything's great. I didn't see no wear mark or anything on it. It was just the key was locking up, and just needed oil. But I bought a new cylinder just in case, because I never took it off. And they're not that expensive. Make sure you get a paper clip. Make sure you get a paper clip, because it's the perfect size. And just bend one side so you can get your finger there just to push down on that little bronze button that I showed you. So there's the ignition, and I'm very pleased with it, and it's very, very free now. The key goes back and forth really well. And make sure you get an extra copy. It's nice to have two sets. They're very, very cheap now, not like the new keys today. They cost over $1,000 now to get them cut. These keys are very simple, like house keys, So that's it for the cylinder and the ignition. And some have chrome buttons around there, but I would say you had that figured out how to take that off so far. And these are quite almost the same as the 1960s. So if anybody got anything even older than what I have, it would be exactly like this, out of Chev. Really old in-dash ignitions, not column ignitions, in-dash ignitions for Chevrolet. And these go back, I've seen one come out of a 66 Impala exactly the same. So, I don't know how far they go back, but they go back quite a ways from my van in 1979, made in 80 or 78, sorry. So it goes back way before that, and I don't know how far it goes ahead in time, but if you do have an in-dash ignition, well, it's going to look like this. Okay, so I want to show you the new drums that just came in. I got them today, and I want to show you the outside first. This is just the regular drums, no heavy-duty braking or anything system. I want to show you that these are brand spanking new. They're quite expensive. You see, it's got the balancer there, already built in. They're all comes with the balancers. You see, very thick. And this is what they look like in behind. Well put together, I gotta say. These are Centric product. I went with the brake shoes with the same brand, so I went with this with the same brand. Of course, you don't want to mix it up too much. I'm not saying that they're a good product or a bad product, just saying no sense of switching different brand names. Just want to keep going with the same thing so nothing gets out of sorts or anything. And the new wiper arms came in as well. I'll show you. They don't come with the tab on top for different style blades and things. Let's see here. These are universal. They range from 14 to 19 inch. And you can see here they got the tab. You haul out that, and this arm here comes out a lot longer and goes back in. You can see it goes inside this little shaft here. And this is also the weather stripping now for the side sliding door. So I've got that taken care of, like I showed you. That was in dire need for that. And you know, that's it. You know, they got the tabs are a little different from what they are in the 1980s cars. You can see they're a little different in the vans. But I think these are more of a modern style clips than what the ones that they used in the 80s. They actually kind of went back with those clips, I do believe, in the 90s. I'm not sure if they still use them or not, but that is the style that they used. And that's the wiper arms and weather stripping for the sliding door. So this is the tire cover. Of course, it's the vinyl. It's not a hard shell one. It's a soft vinyl. It's handmade, of course. It's custom to a 15-inch wheel. So that's what is required on the van, and that's what I'm going to keep. And my spare tire is going to be a full-size 15, not no spare tire, little skinny little spare tires. Is not going to happen on a van, so I'm going to go full size. You can see that it has a nice perfect depth into it. And I'll switch over here to show you that there's quite a bit of elastic to it. You can see it goes in quite well. Remember I showed you on the front of the van I have that rail for the front spare tire up in front of the grill. I'm going to keep that on, and I'm going to put this on. But when I'm on the highway going at a higher speed, I'm afraid that this may fall off. Sometimes they do. So I'll probably put this on and probably put a bungee cord from one side to the other to give it, you know, more strength of holding onto the wheel. And I'm pretty sure that that's what will do it. You know, every one of them has a split here on the end. You know, just in case if you have a little bit of a bigger size 15, or even if you want to put a little small 16 and wrap it with this, it may work with that nice split. You know, they all got to have that split, and you can see that the elastic is pretty thick. The wire is pretty good. It's got good durability. It's nice and thick. It's a beautiful smell. It's going to be gone very soon now when it goes out into the environment. But you can see that it's perfect grain for that vinyl look. The stitching, it's kind of a little bit of a mediocre when it comes to stitching. It's just regular stitching, but I hope and pray that the sun don't stretch this and burst it at the seams. Apparently it's supposed to be UV rays resistant or something, so it won't fade. But I'm thinking that it will. Apparently they tested it and it didn't, but You know how it is when it comes to black. So I have two of these, one for the outside and then one for the in that goes on the back by the passenger side back panel wall where the window is and stuff like that. So I got two of these, so you don't see no dirty old tires or anything. You got the nice covers to go with it. And again, there's the back. They didn't cost me a lot of money, but I'm pretty happy with the cost. So they were not too bad.